You're listening to Oh Those Humans.
So, Donna, there's a lot on my mind, and not wanting to limit our conversation to any one topic at the moment. I just want to sort of review everything that I'm thinking about. I think the old idea that you should stay busy is a good idea. I think too much thinking is not healthy. But in any event, I am feeling better about where the possibilities are in this new political environment that we're in. Um, I don't know if I'm one of the voices that wants to treat this as completely abnormal, which is where the progressive side of the equation is not to normalize this. I certainly don't think that the president to be's behavior is normal. That's not where I'm going to. But I do think it's important for um, ordinary citizens to start figuring out what they want and how to go for what they want politically. So I'm in a very positive state of mind about what the actions are. I don't think the actions are purely resistance. I don't think that that's the right tactic. Um, so, for me, I think it's to look at where the openings are. And perhaps you would describe what I'm thinking as a form of resistance. I mean, it's a matter of labels. I mean, there are going to be lots of holes and problems already showing up in this administration to be. Um, but I don't think that the way to attack it is to just resist, resist, resist. I think
Well,
it's
I know. I think obviously just resisting doesn't move us forward, but
right.
I think, but I feel very strongly that the reason we are in this place that we're in, I mean, there are multiple reasons, obviously, but one of them is that we did normalize the entire campaign. I mean, the things that he said and did were equated with the email scandal that had already been taken care of on Hillary's part, and yet we every day there was a new surprise, and so we forgot about the one from the day before, the one last week, or the entire series of escalating troublesome issues and statements that kept coming out, not to mention all of the fake news that came out, that the more it was discussed, the more it became real instead of fake. So I think normalizing things is what got us here, and we have to stop doing that. We have to stop discussing his latest tweet. It's just a diversion. We need to focus on the issue, something that we didn't do during the campaign, and we must do now, because when I look at his picks as advisors in the cabinet, he seems bent on destruction, chaos, and divisiveness.
Yes.
I mean, to pick someone as the head of the EPA who wants to dismantle the EPA doesn't make any sense to me. Now, it makes sense to him if you want to destroy America. I mean, he wants to make America great, but I think what he means is he wants to make America Trump. I mean, the latest thing on CNN, what's her name, spoke about The Apprentice, and that he's not only going to be the executive producer with Schwarzenegger taking on his role, but he might even appear. How is that possible in his spare time? How does a president have spare time to produce a television show?
Well, I'm gonna follow your lead and not get caught in that one, because I think your first point is absolutely accurate. In fact, I think of the old ancient tale of Scheherazade and telling a story to keep the powers that be enthralled, and that's what he did.
That's what he continues to do, and they buy it.
You may have to back away from your microphone, Donna.
I can do that.
Yeah, you're reverberating. So
I think I actually am reverberating.
So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we need to focus on the issues. So you're right. He is destroying, he's not draining the swamp, as he called it. He is filling it with alligators and crocodiles. He's just filling it with real destructive individuals to hurt the structure and hurt the things that have been accomplished. So we need to make sure we keep ourselves awake and focused on what's important and what matters. And I don't even want to say his name. And on another subject, I was heartened by the fact that I thought Biden might be considering running in the next election for president, but in fact, he is not, which is sad for me. But
actually, I watched one of the more recent interviews with him, and he didn't say that he said he had no intention, but things could change, is what he said.
Right, but I would hate to see him destroyed or devoured by this machine, this kind of nasty campaigning, and until we get the money out of the political arena, we've got a real problem. We've put I don't know, there's a metaphor for putting the fox in charge of the hen house or something like that. That's what we've done, and it's very tragic. But again, I'm in a more positive state in terms of looking, the way I would take on any enemy or any problem is to look for where the vulnerabilities are and work those and keep our eye on the ball. I think Obama made it possible for some of us to feel hopeful and relaxed a bit because he was taking charge in a way that we had hoped. But we've got to stop the attacks on people. We have to worry about anti-Semitism, anti-Islamism, and anti-everything that's out there that's been created by this new administration.
Well, let me just say one thing. It hasn't been created. What it's done is it's given permission for what was under the surface to come out.
That's true. That's
true. I mean, it's not like he created the KKK and the hate and the sexist men and all of the other problems that are now surfacing, unfortunately, in troubling numbers. It was there. It was just covered over by political correctness and the fact that the majority of the civilized world just wouldn't accept that. So what he's done is he's enabled them to show their true colors. And while that's extremely troubling and needs to be stopped, and certainly he's not decrying it, it at least allows us to begin to deal with it because we've ignored it.
Yeah, but maybe the way to do that in this internet world that we're in is that fundamentally a good tactic was at the time ignoring it. I don't think there's much to do about much of it. I think if the Justice Department is no longer going to be responsible for stopping hate crimes, which it might not be, there's not much we can do except call attention to things and attempt to ostracize those who behave that way. But I mean,
well, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
like you just said. There's the whole in quotes secret group Pantsuit Nation on Facebook that now has more than 4 million people, and basically they're not an activist group. They're a group where people come and they share their stories in an effort to feel better, really. And story after story is of people confronting whether it's racist or sexist or other types of xenophobic remarks, not ignoring it as good little girls we're so apt to do, but actually addressing it head on, not allowing people to say things and just get away with it, not allowing people to allow other people to get away with things, but actually not only calling out the person who made the remark, but calling out all the people who sat around and said nothing.
Absolutely. And I think that's good for parents and children. This is this is a key time to get the kids, aware of the misdirection here that's going on. And definitely, so this is one topic that we will revisit and continue, over time, because we've got 4 years, perhaps, or hopefully less, to deal with this change that's occurred.
Michael Moore, who predicted that Trump would be elected, has now said that he will never make it to president, that the likelihood is that he'll either drop out or the Electoral College will finally realize that they need to do their due duty, or he'll make it and he'll be impeached. But the likelihood of his making it through 4 years, and I think a lot of people would agree, is not very high if he even does get to inauguration.
Well, I'm hoping that's the case.
Well, I don't know what to hope for, because then we officially have Pence. I mean, as it is, Pence is the one who's taking the security briefings, and Pence is the one who I think is making a lot of the decisions. I say this only partially tongue in cheek, but I wonder if Pence or others aren't directing Trump in his selection of his cabinet members purely for the purpose of making him look as dumb as it's making him look.
Oh, interesting. That's
The choices are so outrageous. It's almost like those stories that you see where people, the producers, the movie The Producers. I mean, you make a musical comedy about Hitler, it's got to fail.
Absolutely. I want to leave the topic, but what I can't figure out is how Gore could come to see him, and then 2 days later he puts an awful appointment to the EPA. To me, it makes no sense.